Hi everyone, welcome to Curse 20. My name is Cody. This is another episode of DM Interview. Today we're here with my friend Josh, my very first DM, and we just finished up playing his campaign. So I just wanted to ask him some questions and find out how he feels and just pick his mind about some things. How you doing, Josh?
Good, dude. First
Good.
of all, thank you guys for playing. It was really fun to write it and play with you guys because I had ideas where the story was going, but god damn it, there was a lot of different new narratives and tropes and everything that came with you guys. So first of all, and foremost, thank you guys.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, I think first and foremost from our end, thank you for giving us 3 years of awesome D&D.
yeah.
Um,
Sorry.
and I super appreciate it. You were the first time you were my first DM, the first time I got to experience any type of role playing game like this, and I really appreciate the work that you put in to build that campaign.
Yeah, and for that, I'm also sorry because I had to learn a lot of this stuff on the fly with you guys too. So there's a lot of things that I'm like. I definitely gave you guys a lot of magical items, a lot of things at first, but it's okay. As much as I learned my lesson at first, it just taught me to be more sadistic. So it balances out. I
There's no fun without pain.
mean, I like you like your pleasure spiked with pain.
Those were some of the hardest battles that I've ever had to encounter in my short, but I've definitely played with other DMs and played a bunch. I mean, it those were some of the hardest, but also most fun, most rewarding
I
battles.
appreciate it.
Different uh like things that you got to think about, taking in the environment into account, all of that. Like you did a wonderful job with building encounters.
That was, if anything, thank you for that because with the environments, I kept thinking like it's always easy to hack and slash stuff, but setting up other objectives and then making like a castle's falling down or all these other things, like it makes you I don't know. I feel like it makes the game a lot more immersive and feel like the consequences of everything a lot bigger. Like without getting too deep in the story, like you guys taking down that massive castle. Yeah, it was an awesome win for your players, but then I was like, you guys are taking down a floating castle onto the village you're trying to save that's right underneath it, and the magic's gonna stop. Guys, this is like a meteor. Like and it was really cool. And like, don't get me wrong, I didn't want like bad things to happen. I did set up safeguards to maybe put a glimmer of hope into things, but it was cool to present a world you guys were like, choose how you want to do it. But I appreciate they noticed environments and stuff too, because that was one of the biggest things that book gave me was dynamic environments or weird setups for abilities. So I appreciate the note on
It
that.
was so fun to try and play the game of me, the player, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to interact with in the environment, then thinking I've figured it out, trying to learn it as my character, completely failing it as my character. And now it's like, okay, I just
Yeah,
have to ignore that. And now I've got to find a new fucking approach to
yeah,
it. And like that it was different every time. And that made it super fun.
I appreciate it. But
So let me ask you a question. 2.5 years.
hmm
How do you feel now that it's over? Because I know how I feel as a player. How do you feel?
Well, it's bittersweet because yeah, it's a story, and you get attached to the characters. And I was saying it's funny because you had like two memories. That's what's kind of fun about D&D. You get like two memories for the price of one. Because like I remember the sessions where we're all doing these things. You guys are killing giant. Skiff is sitting there as rat cheese just parting the seas, but it's also homie Zach here standing on the table, just doing the silly things, reenacting it. So it's like I get the visual of what's happening in the game and then what happened off the table. So it's just, yeah, obviously it's a bittersweet thing because they're beloved characters, fun stories to do. But it's also I'm just happy we got through it. A lot of stories don't, a lot of D&D campaigns don't get ended, and just the fact that we got through it, it's like I'm just happy that we've been able to go through it. Really,
It
you know.
leads me into my second question, and then I'll let somebody else ask one. But you just said that a lot of D&D campaigns don't get ended, and that's because I think it's a pretty well known fact that scheduling is like the biggest killer of D&D, and
The
groups just end
BBG.
up the groups just kind of end up not being able to stay together to finish campaigns a lot, right? So how was it? We had some pretty bad scheduling issues for a while with our group. So how was it dealing with those, and how was it navigating through that?
I mean, it was, there was highs and lows. There was sometimes that were really rough. You get excited, do stuff. You're literally sitting there drawing maps, and then games get canceled. But it's fine. There's definitely some sessions I was like, I prepared the session 3 times. I'm gonna run this really nice. But the bells and whistles, I'm sorry, I cannot be bothered to put on the bells. Like, I'll be honest, I was like, bells and whistles, no. We're gonna have a great fun session. I'll have a lot of fun, but you want cute drawings? No. Today, I'm slapping the map on the table, and it'll be fun as hell. But
On that note, did it kind of revitalize you a little bit when we did get back to it? And even though we love our friends, that we were having some of those scheduling
yeah,
conflicts out, when we were able to get some new players in that schedule fit more,
oh,
was it easy to get revitalized, or was it kind of
it was really easy to get revitalized because then it also got to the point that like I had to start revisiting some of the content I hadn't read, because it was deeper into things. So I finally got to revisit stuff, and then with the new players coming in and the additional homebrew we set up, I was able to set up a couple new angles and different narratives and setups and scenarios. So then it became a lot more fun, and it very much did revitalize it. And it was like, I don't know, it was a little tricky to add new players, but also not, because the really good players that just interacted with the world in a fun way. So it's just like my whole thing was like I was trying to I hope I gave them enough ties, and I hope I gave you and like Dylan enough ties to like feel you're a part of the world, because I know you guys joined later. So I don't know, as far as like DM perspective, the players, they did great. They interacted with the world. They did fun stuff. Everything they could. So it wasn't hard for me to write them in. It just took a second of figuring out like how do you want your character to play, and then I gave them suggestions of like what if they had this, and they were super cool and were like, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. So it was just co-writing, really, you know.
And like me and Dylan, like we didn't just kind of come in late. Like this is a campaign that went from level 1 to level 12, and me and Dylan didn't come in until level 10.
Hmm.
And there was already established characters and this entire world. And when we came in, we both talked to you. We're like, hey, we're just gonna write up some characters. We don't matter. You don't gotta
Hmm.
do anything for us. Our backstories don't matter. And you took it upon yourself. And our characters were so vital to the overall story. And even the old characters' stories still mattered so much. How was all of that? Like bringing all that
I mean, it was tricky, but I just, like I said, I wanted them to feel the tie of the world and have motives for things. Like, so with the original party, I built the story in a way that like they weren't really friends. We didn't have a full session zero of like this. Why is this team of prophetic people together? So I kind of built it as a slow adventure of like low level adventures. They're getting to know each other. They're building the dynamics. They're kind of doing all those things. So that's why when you got there, those dynamics were so established. Some things I'd even write. They built you guys as players entirely helped set up. I just kind of kept rolling with it and kept giving you stuff. I was like, you guys want to be a country rock band? I can make country rock. I can make country rock. So it was, it was a lot of it was just natural there. But then your character had fun tropes, and it's just like believing he wanted to be a god and all these things. And I don't know, it just felt a fun way to give your character's purpose to want to interact in the world instead of just I hate and I kill things kind of thing.
I mean, it definitely took me by surprise because like I was like, yeah, I'm just here. I'm help pushing this along so they can finally end this thing. They can see it to the end, and it's like, oh, I'm not just a side character. I was significant, just like everyone else.
Yeah, definitely a little even controversial there too for a moment there with
Hey, that's on
with
you.
the
You did
with
that
the
shit.
look. You said you were potentially evil, and I was like, hey, would you like to have a momentary PC turn? Is what I brought. I brought the opportunity for a momentary PC turn.
Momentary, you mean like the last 2 sessions?
Yes, just to terrify the boys.
now?
After I already killed someone in our other campaign.
And also,
you're a great guy, dude.
also, this is after I have also done a PC turn for you as a player
Campaign.
in the same campaign.
How did it feel when
I
we got
can
done to
never
you?
trust you guys.
It was terrible. It was so terrible. I hated every moment of
It was momentary. He came back epically.
He did. He did.
But
And the signs were there the whole
like-
time. But
and I'll admit, I'm sorry if it was.
And that's my little cheese crumbs.
Yeah.
I'll admit it was sorry if it was a little comfortable at times. With the whole thing, especially with how I learned D&D with you guys, it's real cool. Number one for me always. Just first of all, but second of all, it's just like, okay, I want to give you guys like a little moment or arc in your story. That's why like your Pickles guy had his whole Gene Brooks thing, and I built that into the world, and a little bit of fancy pants and all that stuff. I wanted to have your character like a tie and a arc in the world. For Shepard, he had like this whole like I rewrote that whole area, a whole person, the Cloud Giant Lord, the whole thing, just to have his whole story of saving his town and all these other things. And then for Aiden, his whole narrative device became his wacky, which was already that could easily tie into the Fire Giants and the tie-in. So like I kind of gave everyone like an arc within those things. So even if they had these side characters, I was like, there's enough factions that I can bring them in with the motive. If I'm being honest, Sung was a little bit trickier at times because I just didn't quite know how he wanted to angle it. A couple little things, but Skiff was already such a wild, tiny, zany character that I wanted to be a god. I was like, oh well, it'd be reasonable to lust power in front of him for a second, you know, and then when he realized he's just a pawn.
Man, I don't listen to nobody but me.
I believe he said, what was it? A god.
A god listens to no one but himself.
So yeah, it was easy to tie in because you guys are great players, but I don't know. It just felt easier to do those kind of things instead of just like, yeah, you're a dude, because then why are you there? You know?
So how is it coming back as a player now?
It's really fun. I just show up with dice and a book and a fun character on my phone and go, hey, what's up? What are we doing today? You know, yeah, it's pretty refreshing if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, not have to think about all that stuff. Like, yeah, I haven't really pondered on it too deep. It's just Lily. It was just super nice to show up with literally this, like this, and that was it. But it's just also really fun to see like your world because like the feel of like Storm King's completely different to Barovia and Strahd and whatnot too. So it's really cool to just see your world and have a totally different feel. And yeah, it's like it very much doesn't feel like I'm playing like watching a sequel. It's definitely like I'm watching a totally different movie kind of thing. So that's why it's always going to be fun because it's something new, different, and your style is really cool too. So it's fun. Like obviously I do some things different than you, but I'm never sitting there just like I wouldn't do that. It's never like that. It's more just like I don't do things like that, and then there's other things I'm like, you do these things like that? That's scary. Why? You're mean. So like it's just fun. It's really refreshing and fun. Like I said, I'll still always love that first story, and it was really fun running that stuff with you guys. But yeah.
So I've got a question. And it's a question I want to ask you also, but it won't be one I can ask you until we're done with Curse of Strahd.
Oh,
But since we are done with Storm King's Thunder, what was your favorite thing that you changed about the campaign? Like the one thing that you were
Airships.
the most proud of?
Airships.
Okay.
So there was just one encounter of some. So there's supposed to be a dragon cultist airship, and they were just like a small momentary encounter outside of the prophetic temple. They were supposed to kind of save you from the dragon, and you kind of like go with them, but they're like some shady characters, and you can play it up in a lot of different ways, and it does from a lot of things. But as soon as I saw these flying airships, I just saw that and was like, so you're telling me there's airships in this world? Why won't cities have airships and dynamics and then have skyports and all these other things? So I was just like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm adding skyports, airships, and if there's airships, there's gonna be sky pirates. Like I was like, you're telling me I gotta do pirates in the air? Sign off. That was like the most. I read that book and it was like instantly I was like, why would you feature this for a brief moment when I could give them a ship? Eventually, the Captain Fancy Pants ship was going to be your guys's. You guys just got it like a lot faster than
Dude,
like 2 chapters faster than I would have
I
expected.
still remember the look on your face when you like came in the day after reading that, apparently, because you came up to me with the biggest smile, like, dude, they have airships. Do you want Sky Pirates? Like, tell me right now if you want Sky Pirates, there will be Sky Pirates. And I said, fuck yes, I want Sky Pirates.
I was like, okay, say less. I remember that. Say less. I will add Sky Pirates if you guys want Sky Pirates. But yeah, that's my single favorite thing. I mean, apart obviously all the homebrew, you guys' characters, like all the little filigree, the rat race gambling. There's a lot of filigree that I
That was a
love.
high one for me.
Yeah, but if you're talking like general changes,
I was sick that
Sky
session.
Pirates,
I missed that.
Sky Pirates. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
have any more questions, Zach?
If no one else has any other ones, I guess I would just have to ask, do you think you're gonna run again?
For president, no. But no, I'd like to run for another game for you guys in some like a totally different feel of story. I'd like to run that DLC thing for Storms King, but I would like to run a totally different adventure for you guys too. Just because I like both ends of the game. Right now, especially with Life it's a lot nicer to be a player if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It with my schedule and life and time, a lot easier to manage being a player right now out of all times. So I yeah, I eventually for sure. I've liked writing stories, man. So like, there's no way I'm not going to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, just question as players, just what were your guys' favorite moments in the campaign individually? It could be just as a brief. I know talk a lot, but
I mean, for me, it was literally the entire backstory that you wrote for my character. The All I came to you with was I want to play this weird race from an unrelated book that goes through this weird metamorphosis where at level 5 it goes from a small creature to a large creature, and they're a little goblinoid thing, and I think that's cool. And you took that and made them an integral part of the backstory of the universe,
one of the motives of the story.
and that's so original to you and your world and your story. And for my character, to me, that was my favorite part. Every time we interacted with my character's backstory, it just blew my mind at the detail and thought that you
I appreciate
put
it.
into that.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to cheat this answer. I have 3 parts that I cannot pick over each other. First, it was my second session playing D&D in my entire life, and I fought a mirrored version of myself and got this sick ass legendary weapon. I can't explain to you sitting there rolling a dice like, and then you go, the door floats up and there's like this
Yeah.
floating golden hammer, and I was like,
That was a secret encounter too.
Yeah.
I thought, dude.
yeah, I had to like touch this mirror on accident, and then all of a sudden I'm fighting a mirrored version of myself. I killed this thing, and then this hammer appears. I was like, I didn't even know you could do stuff like that in a game. Like, it was just like mind blowing to me. 2, they're both, that was at the beginning of the campaign, and my last 2 are basically the last 2 sessions. It's gonna sound crazy, but when I was able to fulfill my duty as a Rune Knight and die for my king, that was one of the, like, I was like, this is what I've been living for. Like, this is my character's moment. And then 3,
You made me power word kill you, and I was just like, no.
That was so fucking hard.
And then
I rewatch it like a movie.
you revivify me and you counterspell me. You didn't have to do that, Josh.
By the way, I hold that thought for 2 weeks of you guys like, hey, we built a plan. Oh yeah, Pickles is first in the initiative after Hexton. We're gonna just revivify first thing, and I'm just like,
I knew you were. I knew this was gonna do it. I was like,
I'm gonna counterspell that.
He's gonna
There's
Didn't I also counterspell your counterspell?
But
Somebody,
there was the globe, but eventually
Oh,
you did
yeah.
counterspell the counterspell.
yeah.
And if there could have been someone else, they might have tried to counterspell that counterspell. But you know,
And then main character syndrome a little bit. I got to take the killing blow on the big bad guy, and that was just freaking awesome. I got to smite its head off. It was
dude. Not only that, they
amazing.
gave you the potion of giant size.
Ah,
So
it
you're
was so
you're
awesome.
sitting there like, how tall did we say you were?
Well, you enlarged. I like giant smited, and then I drank the potion, so I was like the size of an actual giant.
So yeah, you were like,
Well,
let's.
no,
Oh,
the potion made you the size of a giant, and then I think I was enlarging you.
I was huge.
and Giants might.
I was
So you were,
humongous.
yeah. you
Okay,
were-
so Storm Giants would be like 45 feet. So you were like, yeah, well, let's say 55 feet.
I was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I was gigantic. It was awesome.
Yeah, but it was fun. What about you?
I have like a favorite moment and I have a favorite role.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Hit me.
So obviously the favorite role.
No, I know what it is.
I did too.
It took me a second.
But I'm lost. What's the favorite
Yeah.
role?
It's a nat 20. I know that much.
It's not a nat 20.
No. Oh,
Is
it's
it not? Is it not a nat
It
20?
is
What is
not
it?
a nat 20.
Oh.
What's your? Okay, what is it?
You're gonna have to tell me what you were thinking.
Okay, I'll tell you what I was thinking after. I'm intrigued now.
When you said that I converted a city.
I got to roll a percentile dice on how much of the city was converted into my religion, and I rolled a 100 on the percentile
Yeah,
dice.
you got the 100 on the percentile.
That
That
was
wild.
awesome.
I forgot about
Oh
that.
That's
I forgot about
awesome.
that. I think what Josh and I were thinking was the nat 20 to stop his 3 nat 20s.
Because
Which was also insane. But
yeah, I've never that 20 to cancel my 3 net 20s row was kind of.
So to clarify for anybody watching, Josh rolled a nat 20 and
On like an
then
attack.
You silvery barbs.
I silvery barbs
And
this, so
nat
he
20.
rolled with disadvantage. He nat 20'd again
I storm ruined you. It made you roll again.
with disadvantage again. So it's like the third time he has to take the lowest dice, rolls a third nat 20, and then
I counterspell.
And then he
or
counters
something.
silver
I think-
barbs again or something
I
like
don't
that.
have silvery barbs.
Some
I think it was a
counter.
counterspell. I can't remember what the attack was.
Was it control?
I
You
think it
let
was
us
a
do some
spell
funky
attack.
stuff and just waste a bunch of resources to try to stop
I
you.
gave you guys like some. Yeah, I did give you.
but the only way it would work is if you
He rolled a nat
rolled
20.
nat
Willie
20
not a
and,
19. It had to be a 20. That's what it was.
and hit that shit. And Josh was so fucking upset, just defeated.
What is the odds on 4 nat 20s in a row?
Insane, right? Because a
It's
nat
gotta be like
20 is
1 in
like
40,000 or
Yeah.
something.
No, it has to be more.
More
than
than
It
that.
has to be more.
Because
than
like 2 in a row is like 1 in 2,000, right?
We'll look
So-
at that.
We'll look at it eventually, but if anyone knows, yeah, that's what happened. So I thought it was that one because, like, I literally went from cackling on the like all over the place to just a look of just like you have a bad guy, just let me do bad things.
But my favorite moment is when that bitch ass great Magnifico got slaughtered by my hands, and I was no longer a traitor to my friends, and I brought the mothership to their aid.
You got your Riz back.
And I got my Riz back.
You raised her from 19 to 20. It was like,
I got my Riz back.
Yeah, I took,
Just one.
Just one? Okay. Wait, because I rolled the D4. You had to roll the D4 and let me tell one. Yeah, I took one of your first.
well, unless anybody has any lasting questions, I think we're going to wrap up the video. Any last questions?
I think I'm good, man. I just want to say thank you again, dude. That was more fun than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah.
Oh,
Echo
ditto.
that.
Same to you guys, dude. That was the best.
All right, Pickles for life. I will eventually get that tattoo. Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching another episode of Curse 20. Please remember to like and subscribe and hit that bell button to keep up to date with future videos. Also, keep a lookout for our future Twitch channel. Have a good night and happy rolling.